I just got off the phone with Larry Fink, and he told me the secret about Bitcoin's ETF. Is the approval happening today? We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts, the why and won't. It's time to discover crypto.
Capital flight is coming to the United States. The dollar is going to zero.
And that's what makes Bitcoin so special.
You have to have gone through a couple cycles to understand.
Once the price is able to clear this level, the breakout is on its way.
This is your indication to jump in now.
Happy New Year, everybody. I'm grateful you just smashed the like button. If you haven't done it already, please go ahead and do it now. We got Kelly and Drew on the ones and two. How are you two doing today?
You know what? I'm doing incredibly well. I'm refreshed. I took the time, I took Friday off, had some things I had to take care of, but over the weekend, just relaxed, meditated a little bit. I didn't meditate, but I took a long drive, which was like meditation. And I didn't have I think it's one of my first New Year's ever that I had zero alcohol. And I woke up New Year's Day refreshed as I could be. And I feel I'm ready for this year. Are you ready for this year? Because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And we got a lot of price movement coming. So how are you feeling?
I'm doing well. I didn't actually have a beverage that day either. I had one or two the day before and like one the day after. Didn't even think about it. I think it might be my first one for a while too. Drew, you had a good time with the kids. Did you pop fireworks and did a son lose a finger?
No fingers were lost. I killed a bottle of Jack. Took up an addiction to Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom. Absolutely incredible.
All right. Yeah. Well, people are going to have tears if we don't talk about Bitcoin ETF. Is it happening, folks? We're going to break down a couple articles, but Charles Gasparino just he's talking about the rumors because Eleanor Terrett tweeted something. Are we going to get the ETF approval? Is this why Bitcoin is breaking 45K? And it seems unlikely, unfortunately, here. Charles Gasparino breaking here regarding the Bitcoin ETF. People at BlackRock say it is radio silence from the SEC government here. Eleanor Terrett's sources, a friend of the channel, she's been on ATB, Fox Business Analyst here. Her sources say the amount of paperwork that the SEC still needs to go through to make the announcement likely towards week's end. We see a couple people in the chat. When do you think the ETF approval? Someone came in. It is not today. It is tomorrow. I lost the name there. A lot of people saying, no, it'll be next week in a day. It's going to be the Wednesday of next week or it'll be the Monday of next week. I'm still coming in 90% odds that we're going to see January 10th. That is Wednesday. That is 8 days from now. Kelly, do you have a bold prediction for the Bitcoin ETF?
I was literally just thinking about that. It is January 2nd, the start of the year. And I thought, what's it not a better time to come up with a little bit of a prediction for this year? At the end of this year, I do think, and I'm curious what your thoughts are. I think that I'm going to say $88,000 when we get into December of this year.
Oh, I like that.
$88,000 is what I'm thinking. I want every one of you comment here in the live chat. If you're watching later, comment down below. Where do you think Bitcoin's price is going to be at any point in December? Doesn't have to be the last day. Let us know. But I think in terms of the spot ETF, everybody thinks it's going to be, approved. And that means it's just going to run. I still think there's going to be a buy a rumor, sell the news event. And it's also going to be contingent upon if any of these things get delayed, if they get moved, if it doesn't happen on the 10th like everybody wants, or if we even get a flat out denial. But I think we're going to get some approvals before the 10th.
Drew, we were looking at, do you remember my Bitcoin year-end prediction for 2023?
Sure do. I think
what was DZ's Bitcoin prediction for the end of 2023?
I think you said 42.
I said 42. Where did we close? 43, right?
Yeah, we closed at 43. I think I was like 42 to 45, somewhere around there. Pretty dang good, though. Yeah.
All right. You know what? I'm just going to end on a high note, everybody.
Yeah.
No. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. All right. So I came in with $1,000 at a $16,000 Bitcoin. I predicted within $1,000. Are you ready for the next prediction, everybody? Hit that like button if you want DZ's prediction, because dang it if they don't come true some of the time. I'm going to go
60% of the time, all the time.
You ready?
I'm ready. I want to hear it. This means something.
$72,000 for December 23rd, 2024. That is going to be Bitcoin's price. We're going to flirt with 69. We're going to knock on that door. We're going to flip it around, lay on our back, and then we're going to shoot off to the moon, everybody. After that, I'm predicting 72K for Bitcoin. Kelly, I know that's it's a tough act to follow coming in within $1,000. What is your Bitcoin prediction?
For what time period?
2024, end of the year.
End of the year, yeah. Again, I think it's going to be somewhere in the $88,000 to $95,000 range. And remember, that doesn't mean it hadn't broken past that and come back down. But remember, the 2025, based on the Bitcoin halving cycle and the flows of the market cycle historically, 2025 is the schedule of when the true parabola really starts going exponential. So we're not saying it can't get higher than that, but this year is going to be setting up that foundation for the true parabola. So yeah, I'd say anywhere 72 to 90 would be a good range.
We need a single number though, because we're going to check on this.
88,000. I said it before.
88. And Drew, let's go ahead and get your prediction out as well.
I'm going to Jeopardy. I think that's the right word. Price is right. Actually.
Price is right.
70K. 70K is what I'm going.
Okay.
He's like 71,997.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, shout out to Drew Carey and Bob Barker. Bob Barker, he wanted to spay and neuter all the pets there. All right. Bitcoin breaks through. Let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin here. Then we'll look at some charts as well. Look at some price action in the markets. Bitcoin breaking through 45K as the ETF decision nears. But everybody, are we going to knock on the door of 50,000 on the short term here? Maybe even today? I don't think so today. Bitcoin price increase also caused a close above a critical horizontal area. With this approval drawing near, how long will this increase continue? Looks like we, breaking through that crucial level of 44,700, and the deadline for them to approve a Bitcoin ETF is on January 10th. This is a little asterisk. The first deadline is January 10th. And so the prediction is they want a lot of people to walk through this door at the same time. They don't want to show favoritism. I think it's Van Eck 21 shares has the first deadline. Do you think BlackRock wants Van Eck to get a head start? I don't think.
Absolutely not. And it's not even just specifically about BlackRock. I think, as you said, it's going to be a huge deal for whoever is the first. But shout out to Alex Green gifting 5 memberships to the channel. And shout out to all the members here. If you're a member here, drop an emoji, drop something bullish, hey, this is the start of the year. We should be breaking records today for likes. So everybody hit that like button. But yeah, as I said, I think that 10th deadline, remember the rest of the deadlines are sometime in March.
Yes.
So there is a possibility that they come up with some reason that the 10th needs to be moved to March. But I think it's leaning more towards this time,
So we have the over under. Think about in sports, you got the Falcons versus the Cowboys, and we're like 7.5 points. So everyone's thinking, all right, that's about where we're going to come in at. The over under for the amount of approvals we're going to get on January 10th from those in the know, they're saying 8.5 approvals. So maybe expect 8 or 9 ETF approvals on January 10th. And you were saying earlier, that will be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. Now, maybe not that day, but the following day, if you had a guess, January 11th, green or red candle, Kelly?
Well, I think the approval is going to be massive green candles. And it's going to trap some people out there that are just excited about the approvals and they're buying on speculation rather than on fundamental change. I think the fact that it doesn't mean there's going to be a huge, just absolute flood of capital that comes into the space from then. So there's going to be some sell the news events, I think, when that capital flow isn't, immediate afterwards. We're not getting $1 trillion coming in those few days. So I think within the week after, we'll have red candles.
All right. Well, speaking of red candles, that takes us to our next story here. A bloodbath has happened, everybody. It's like a scene from The Shining. No, $145 million for the Bears here, just getting liquidated, everybody, as they bet on Bitcoin to go down. The Starling move caught many off guard, and the liquidations amounted to $145 million. I expect this to go up to maybe around $200+ million today. A majority of these were short positions where they had placed bets on a market reversal only to lose all their funds there, showing a clear breakout above the 45K resistance level, and is now turned into a support zone. We're going to have Kelly looking at this area, looking at the zone momentarily. So make sure you stick around for that. Also, we got to cover some BlackRock ETF news. We're going to get into the details, everybody, and some Tesla news as well. But you know what? I think it's time for us to check out the markets before we get into the charts, because Bitcoin's exciting. The markets are moving up. Let's go ahead and refresh. The entire market cap is up 3.8%. That's pretty significant. Bitcoin dominance still flirting with that 50% level right now. Gas is slightly elevated. 37 Gwei. I bought some crypto today. Guess what? I used Trader Joe's for the first time. Not the restaurant. No, I'm sorry, not the grocery store that some treat as a restaurant. with the really good frozen food section. I'm talking about Trader Joe's with Avalanche. Have you ever used it?
Yeah, the one Trader Joe. Yeah, I know that one as well.
Trader Joe. Touche.
Yeah.
Kathy Wood, Trader Joe. I have issues with these two things.
It's the plurals. Yeah, my mom's is. Yeah, let's go to Kroger's.
Yeah.
I
put my pant on one leg at a time.
But I remember seeing about, I don't know, a month ago, there was some really interesting speculation around the price of the actual token, Joe, because of how much volume was being traded on there as it relates to the market cap, and that might be a good investment in itself. But I haven't used it recently. Did you?
It was the gas fee was like cents, pennies, something like that. When I did something on Arbitrum, and then I did some on Avalanche, and it was a breath of fresh air. Everybody,
dude, all right, I gotta say though, we'll look at it here in a second when we pull up the charts. There's some people that hate on Avalanche, and I think it's mostly because that they're holding a different layer one. That's really the only reason why I can come up with it. But I'm really bullish on Avalanche and Near going into this year, going into this bull market, because a lot of the developments they've had and just the way that protocol operates. And I think the partnerships are really going to drive a lot of positive price action on those two coins.
All right. Well, you know what? You're getting me bullish on that whole ecosystem. Would you rather have Avalanche or some of the Avalanche, let's say, native asset, or, some of the Avalanche alts?
Well, if I'm going to hold secondary coins, that are built on top of an ecosystem, I personally would not do that without holding that
some Avalanche. So you would need some.
Yeah, if I'm going to hold Matic, I also hold Ethereum. If I'm going to hold, if I'm going to be buying Joe,
let's get specific Avalanche. For the viewers at home. For Avalanche specifically, what's your ratio breakdown where you feel comfortable? Would you want 25% Avalanche, too little Avalanche? Would you want a 50-50 split? What's Kelly's split here?
I would probably do 50% Avalanche for this specific portion of the portfolio. 50% Avalanche or more, minimum 50%, and then split up that other, whether it's 20, 30, or 40%, maybe up to 50%.
Well, Alex Green, one of the people, gifting some subs here, give some memberships. Now, what if you have Coke in you? I forget how to pronounce it, everybody. Let's say you have that altcoin where you do have 50%, and then your meme coin jumps up. Do you dump your meme coin? Do you take profits? You feel like this meme coin's got more room to run?
Well, any coin that I have, especially with the smaller market cap coins, and this is something you need to really pay attention to going into this year. If you get positioned in something that does have exponential returns, yes, we always think it can go further. But it's that moment that I'm not going to take profit. It's going to go further. That's when you get wrecked and it goes opposite direction. And then you have that story. Man, at one point I had $1 million in this, and then now you have 11. Don't do that. If you get up, 200, 300, 400% in profit, and you notice you still haven't rotated any of that capital, you are stealing from yourself. Mm-hmm. Rotate some of that into the larger holdings in your account with the larger market caps, so you can harness those gains into the future, and then let the rest ride, as Wendy O calls it, the moon bags. You can leave your moon bags, but take some profit so you can carry it into the future. All right. And speaking of carrying into the future, people are talking about this coin in the chat. It's actually trending. Like we said, it is dumping a little bit, so down 13%. All right, well, let's just quickly briefly look at the markets. Bitcoin moving up 6.1%, stealing a lot of the thunder in the top 10 at least. Ethereum slightly moving to the upside. Solana still having a great day at least, although the week is still slightly in the red, 4.2% to the upside. Now let's look, I want to see something exciting. I want to see something large. I don't want to see something in charge, everybody. That might be Astar. Astar is up 21%. Say, guys, we told you about this. Was my 10K portfolio. It was actually my number 2 holding after Chainlink. And I'm actually going to do an updated video today. I don't know, maybe it'll take a day or two to get out, where we're going to update that video. So if you pulled the trigger, then you have some say. I think you've tripled your say profits. I'm going to tell you what I would do with the profits. And, I'm actually buying these coins. So, make sure you keep an eye out on that. Turn on notifications. Make sure you hit that like button. Conflux, with some called the Chinese Ethereum, it is up 13.6%. HBAR, the barbarians are feeling strong. They're glistening. They're tanned up. They're oiled up. They're greased up. They're feeling good. The barbarians are looking strong. Theta Network up 10%. There's a barbarian in chat. Like, he's talking about me. Let's see. Ordi is up near. We just have a really good day. Mina Protocol, Celestia, a lot of the coins we've been talking about. Now it's time to look at the losers. We don't wish this upon our worst enemy. And hopefully none of my coins are in the top 5 here, the biggest losers. I haven't checked. I like to not look. I like to look live with you, chat. Let's see. What are the biggest losers in the market?
All right, HNT is down 5.1%. I do hold a little Filecoin. I've been actually paring back my Filecoin holdings. We shared on the channel. I sold 2/3 of my Filecoin. I have to go back. I know what I put it in is doing pretty good. It wasn't, I think it was TIA. Maybe it was TIA. I'd have to look. I'd have to double check. So Filecoin, having the best day, but up 30% for the week. BSV has doubled in the past week as well. So, normal pullback here is to be expected. Other than that, though, really not seeing too much to the downside. Speaking of downside, speaking of upside, only there's like a way to divine the numbers, like you could throw some lines on, you could look at past indicators, you could look at past performance, and you can use like human psychology as this tool for a future prediction of the markets. Is there anything like that, Kelly?
Yeah, there is absolutely stuff like that. We can look to the candles themselves. We can look to the charts because remember, I want you to remember this going into 2024. Everything that you see, shout out to Alex Green, gave another 5 membership. Shout out to all the members out there. But remember, when you're looking at price action of any asset, all you're really, I don't want to say all, one of the things you're doing for the most part is you're seeing a visual graph of the psychology of the market over time. You're seeing the debate in the market of the narrative of the bulls and the bears. So jumping into these charts, let's go ahead and look at what's going on. Actually, I want to start with this chart right here. And that is very simple, broken down. This is from TechDev _52. Give them a follow if you haven't yet. And there's 2 different sort of narratives here that I just want to pay attention to. We're looking at the macro first, and then we're going to dive in and see where it may be going this week. I want you to notice right here, back here in 2014 into 2016, the 2017 run here, we had 3 bearish years. And then this next year, boom, start a parabola. We did not quite get that here in the 2018 into 2020 run. We had a bearish year and then this huge pump that we have from 3,000 up to 14,000 and back down. But I've said this before, this cycle to me looks a lot more similar to the 2015, 2016 bear market into bull market sort of structure. And so are we in store here for this right here? Maybe so, but that does not mean when you're looking at this yearly chart, it does not mean there cannot be some significant downside in there. Tim and I were talking this morning, and there has not been a cycle in these last 2 cycles where we didn't get at least 1, if not 2, 30 to 40% pullbacks before the parabola really gets going.
When will the pullback happen? Yeah. Kelly, maybe even Drew in chat, if everybody expects a 30% pullback, do we still get one?
You know what? I don't know. It very well may not happen, but I'm going to be prepared for it. That's what trading is. That's what investing smartly is. Having a plan for both directions.
I was going to prepare. What else can I do besides grab my ankles?
Well, you can grab your ankles when you are done tying your shoe.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I was going with that.
Nothing else there.
No, but
that's fine. You know what? Well, I was going to say, is there any shorting opportunities or is there any, undiscovered ecosystems perhaps?
Well, the ecosystem first step really is in your mind. As stupid as that sounds, you have to have the right attitude. And let's look at these charts on a smaller time frame. If we're looking at this right here, man, we got this pump. We got this blast out of this downtrend resistance. We broke that 43,620 area, but now we also have this range right here with these 2 tops. And this is right in that 44.6 zone. And as it stands right now on this 4-hour chart, we got this sort of signal where we have the high buying volume, these teal candles on the BitLab trading stack, that not only do we get dojis, but we also got a bearish signal here and stopping volume. This does not indicate that it absolutely has to come down. But one of the things that happens in price action when you break key zones is you want to see, especially for opportunity for further upside, a test back to the zone for liftoff yet again. But the question is on the test, it doesn't mean it has to bounce. So we want to see if the price does continue pulling back at all. We want to see this hold if we're expecting further upside. And that's this 44.6 sort of zone. If we get down on the 1-hour time frame, we can see a little bit more clarity. And this is what I want you all to realize going into this year. So you just see candles. If you want more resolution, what's the narrative battle really going on? Divide it down. Let's look at the 4-hour candles. We see this sort of broken up. These doji candles here, spinning top candles, suggesting that this pullback was likely in store. We got it. We get down on the 1-hour time frame. We can see, we can even go even smaller, 24-minute. We see we got a little bit of a head and shoulders here. This was telling the story. This was telling the story of a likely sort of pullback. So if we come right here, draw a measured move from there, We haven't quite got all the way down to it, but I mean, that's fairly close. So in this case, on this metric, on this pullback right here, watch for a little bit of a retest here at 530. If we get up there, if we just fall from here, we're going to want to watch a break back down essentially below 45,000, in which case we are looking for that level down here at 44.6. If we lose that, then we may be coming down to test a bit lower. But as it stands right now, this is an incredible start to the year. We broke a key level. We got those levels above us. We've been talking about it. We're going to be talking about it more on BitLab Academy later. So, I did want to show really quick some other key things. AVAX, we had this sort of rising channel, it could be a channel, it could be a rising wedge, but both of those break bearish. And look at this, broke bearish, confirmed a breakdown, came back down, retest up. This is looking a little weak in my opinion. So maybe look for some opportunities at some prices below, maybe in the 34s, even down to 32, which is not a bad thing if you hold AVAX. That means you can stack more. This is why it's important to have capital on the sidelines, dry powder. Cardano also.
Well, I was going to say, if you need some dry powder, we're going to be doing giveaways every Friday. We have a luck-based one and a skill-based one. We're going to be doing skill-based ones on Blofin, the best trader. We're going to be giving some Tether and just random comments on our video. So make sure you leave a comment. But what else we got for Cardano?
Cardano,
I love it.
Cardano's still in this range. If we can come out here on the 4-hour chart, it's a little messy in here. But this is, if the market starts to pull back at all, I do expect this likely to break, but we do have 2 order blocks directly below us here on the BitLab volume in the BitLab trading stack. So this would be, if this were to come down anywhere in this 57-cent range, if we lose that, then I would expect to likely come down to the next level down, which could be as low as 45 cents or below. But as it stands right now, this is still looking like it's somewhat of a bullish posture, other than the fact that we have a lower high here. Let's hope that we don't get a lower low on the same range. Ethereum still trading within this range. So this means if the price does pull back, don't have a heart attack and capitulate, because we still have this level directly below us, which this level coming across in this confluence right here in this zone, right at the 2,250 sort of zone. If we lose this, then we can look at the next level down here in the basically 2,100 sort of zone. But things are looking bullish. Any pullback from here is okay. It's chopping people out that don't have a strategy. But you here on Discover Crypto, you here part of the BitLab family, you have a strategy, and we're going to see you ride this wave into this bullish 2024. So everybody hit that like button if you're ready for these gains.
All right. And I want to ask chat about strategy questions. So I'm doing a portfolio update on the 10K portfolio. I don't know how long ago. I have to check. I want to say is really not that long ago, a month-ish. We're up 70%. And I know the market's been moving, but we definitely have beat the market. This is the portfolio. This is the video I shared. Chainlink, like I said, was the number one holding. Look at that, 224%. It's cut off just slightly. Maybe if I move it that way, we're stuck. All right, there we go. This is what I want to talk about. Look at Snake. Snake was the smallest holding, but now you might need to go back, actually. So Snake was the largest, now it's the third. Well, I got to take some profit here. It has done a 6x, 482%. Chat, would you take any Snake profit, or would you keep riding it? You have to watch the video to see what I decide. We are going to take some Say profit, but would chat take Snake profit? What do you think? Kelly, Drew, would you take the Snake profit?
Well, any of these smaller market cap coins, I'm way more aggressive on rotating capital out of them when they're up. In terms of something like AVAX, I see some people in there saying, "Oh, it's my biggest bag," and they don't want to go down. That's one, why it's important to have some dry powder on the side. But two, going into this cycle, we're in this portion of a trend where it is an uptrend. So I'm taking advantage of buying dips. I'm not really doing a lot of shorting at all right now, except for I'm very short, maybe 15-minute scalp trades. But so Snec, yeah, I'd be rotating capital.
Take profit, take profits, take 50%. Yeah, people, all right, the people have spoken. You're going to have to watch the video to see what I did. If I didn't take profit, go in the comments. Let me know how much you disagree with me. I was going to use stronger language. All right, let's talk about New Year's Eve, everybody. Hope you had a good one. Hope you hugged your dog. I feel scared of the fireworks. New Year's. Did
your dogs get scared? Are they cool?
We live in the country, so it wasn't too much noise. A little bit, Athena, she was laying at my feet all night for sure. But, that's just Athena. We call her Carpet. And then we have Thumper, with the tail, Thumper's tail, also known as Tide. All right, New Year's Eve sees Bitcoin record. What is the record? We're talking about daily transfers with over 731,000 transactions. So we're seeing the mining difficulty is going to new highs and the hash rate is soaring to unprecedented levels. And now we're seeing daily increase in transaction confirmations on the cusp of a new year and on the cusp of a halving. Miners cemented a record with almost 750,000 transactions, largely propelled by ordinal inscriptions. Ordinal inscriptions leading the way because 314,000 of these were processed, making up nearly, I would say, almost half the total transactions confirmed on Sunday. Meanwhile, the miners experienced a notable lucrative fee market in December. Despite breaking the daily on-chain transfer record, around 350,000 transactions remain in the backlog. Over the preceding 30 days, they authenticated a staggering 16.7 million transactions. Now, Chad, I've been asking you a lot of questions. I got another question for you. The miners are receiving more Bitcoin than they've ever received. Yes, there's only, not really with the 50 Bitcoin block reward, but with the Bitcoin hitting the block every 10 minutes, now transaction fees are higher than they've ever been. So now miners are getting more Bitcoin than they did 12 months ago. Even though Bitcoin, same amount releasing every 10 minutes, the miners are receiving more Bitcoin. They get more than they usually get. Does that mean more selling pressure, or are they going to hodl harder and it's less selling pressure? What do you think that does to the net amount of Bitcoin hitting the markets?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I'm going to have to see if I can look into that and come up with some on-chain charts so we can share maybe later this week.
Yeah, we were looking at Glassnode for a while. Maybe someone could message us or let us know in the chat. We didn't see anything that differentiates what a miner receives from just block reward subsidies and transaction fees subsidies. And is there any kind of breakdown? We just see net inflow and net outflow. We don't see any kind of division of what the two types of Bitcoin.
I will say though, here on my screen, CryptoQuant shared this, another on-chain provider, and they show that there's a pretty large amount, a large spike here of miner to exchange. So the net flow of the miners' holdings of Bitcoin to exchange, and is this indicative of likely a drop? Well, we did see over here, it did create a little bit of a sustained selling pressure, and again, this would all be par for the course. I think there may be a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy that may be in play right now, and that is this pre-halving dump that everybody's expecting. Maybe miners are just trying to hedge themselves.
I like that,
and be ready to sell if they're not already selling. But all in all, we just need to look at all different data points before we make our decision.
Drew, do you got any insight on this? What's your gut feeling here?
I mean, their companies are in business for profit. So if they can make more profit, they're going to be selling hard. They have contracts that they, are operating off of, and the price of Bitcoin, they see it going up. I mean, of course they're going to take more profits when it's going up. It's how they build out the business. And we haven't seen nothing yet. I don't think the selling pressure will be as heavy as it was on that chart Kelly was just looking at. I think that was just them normalized to the 4-year cycle, getting ready to batten down the hatches.
No, I like that. And Kelly, I think that's a really good prediction. I think honestly, miners, a lot of people are expecting a pullback. Some say 30%. The bears, might come out higher than 50% pullback, that they're expecting. If you're a miner, and you say, you know what, sure, maybe it's I don't know for sure. But maybe they feel more likely than not that we do get a pullback. Yeah, why wouldn't you sell, a decent amount of Bitcoin right now in anticipation? And then, if we get the pullback, stop selling for a few weeks, months, days. All right. Bitcoin miners smashed the record with $1.5 billion in monthly revenue. So how will it impact the Bitcoin price? So, yeah, I mean, I think we covered that. I do think that the percentage of Bitcoin they're holding is increasing, but I think net selling, as far as the amount of Bitcoin they're selling, is also increasing. So, maybe instead of getting 10 Bitcoin a month, they get 11 Bitcoin a month because the transaction fees are higher. That one additional Bitcoin, I think some of them probably sell some of it. I think that's a fair statement there. All right, 5 mining pools dominated 2023 with 84% of the total blocks. Does this to you mean Bitcoin is centralized? Let's see what this article says before we get down into it too much. In a span of December 30, 22 to December 30, 23, a total of 54,000 Bitcoin blocks were mined during this period. Foundry USA, top contributor with 16 of those 54,000. The mining community navigated through 27 difficulty adjustments, predominantly increases, which is just a normal number. It's about every 2 weeks we see a difficulty adjustment there, culminating in a record-setting hash rate that we reached just the 24th, Christmas-ish. The miners enjoyed a prosperous 2023, collecting for 54,000. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of mining entities. You know, you could say, well, it's made up of individuals, but a handful of entities controlling 84% of the network. I think it's a fair discussion to have to say, you know what, there is some centralization concern with that, you know, because then we could start sanctioning wallets, exchanges, you know, and et cetera.
The thing that is more poignant to me is considering where each mining pool is based or located, because, you know, we saw with the market cycle top a couple of years ago when we had the Bitcoin mining ban in China, that had a huge impact on the price. And we also had, it was something like 35%, or it might have been even higher than that, of the mining was in China at the time. And it basically truncated that market cycle top. It quote unquote should have gone much higher, but the market's going to do what it's going to do. But my point being here is I'm just more concerned if 60% of that 80% or more is all in the US, even though I'm a US citizen, that would be a little bit worrisome to me. I would want to make sure that things are decentralized globally so we don't get some sort of regulatory impact on price because a country changes how they're interacting or
yeah,
limiting.
And then you got the UK like leading Europe, which Europe, you know, is then kind of leading US with more and more surveillance. And some say that's the plan. We got Alex, you maniac, 5 more gifted memberships. And I'm looking at the 5 names, 5 great names, a lot of regular chatters there. So 300 likes. You know what? I felt pretty good. So thank you for hitting that like button. If you haven't done it, please do it already, because we're going to break down BlackRock's secret ETF plans. That sounds juicy to you, juicy like the steak that Tim's making me the steak, maybe Josh too. If this sounds juicy to you, hit that like button. BlackRock is naming Jane Street. If you don't know about Jane Street, those who know, and I have zero evidence of this, say Jane Street has close ties to the intelligence agencies there. It's also where, this is a true story, SBF met Caroline, where? At Jane Street.
Yeah.
SBF's parents, again, you know, to the thing I said earlier, you know, it's exactly what it looks like, folks. It is exactly what it looks like. Well, BlackRock names Jane Street and JP Morgan as authorized participants for its proposed Bitcoin ETF. There's Larry Fink holding up an Illuminati. No, he's not anybody. All right, BlackRock disclosed new information Friday as part of its proposed ETF. The identities of its intended participants were also named as well. We got JP Morgan Securities and Jane Street as authorized participants. These participants are entities allowed to create and redeem shares of an ETF. They can either exchange the shares for a basket of securities that reflects the holdings or exchange them for cash, everybody. The ETF watchers such as Bloomberg intelligence analysts James and Eric, we've been talking about them for months now, have been closely eyeing the new S1s to see who taps which firms as the authorized participants. The disclosure is seen as one of the final steps before the SEC can make its decision. And like I say, I mentioned this at the top of the show, ARK and 21 Shares, as well as VanEck, they refiled theirs as well. So we're seeing a flurry of refiling, a flurry of meetings, and, you know, everyone is taking these as good signs, increasing the odds. We see an ETF approval the 9th, the 10th, maybe even the 8th, maybe even tomorrow. It's going to be interesting.
I just love the fact that Larry Fink was speaking so negatively about Bitcoin for many years. And, you know, Jamie Dimon,
CEO of JP Morgan.
Jamie Dimon, what was it, 2 weeks ago, saying that Bitcoin is basically only used for illicit activity and all this kind of stuff. And now he's named essentially with, you know, being a part of the BlackRock spot ETF. It's just so interesting to me to see these narratives, these false narratives being exploited in real time, because all these banks, all governments, everybody that's going to carry themselves into the future and be a part of this are going to be involved with Bitcoin. So even Jim Cramer recently capitulated on his idea that Bitcoin was bad.
Is it true? Could you verify? Are we going to have the worst year ever? I heard Jim Cramer said 2024 is going to be a great year.
I saw
Does that
that
mean
too.
we got a 2020 on our hands here?
Not all things can be reverse Kramer. He's going to be right on some things. Remember, he did run a hedge fund. I think he still does for many years. So he does have the ability to do things profitably. But my question always is, do what they do, not what they say, kind of thing. So I just worry that he's a huge narrative shaper on the public side of things, and he's not really honest about what's happening in the background. So I think that we could have a good 2024. Especially that it's a election cycle year. But I do think at some point in the next several years, we will have one of those doom and gloom sort of years with a massive crash.
Do as I say, not as I do seems to have disappeared. And maybe because I'm old and, I don't have a parent telling me this anymore. But I heard that all the time as a child. And I don't even think we live in that type of world anymore. I'm trying to think of examples where I would hear do as I say, not as I do. It's like smoking a cigarette. It's either restaurant, you can't even smoke anywhere. People don't really smoke anymore.
Unbelievable.
You used to be able to drink alcohol beverages open in your vehicle while driving when I was a kid, like drinking a beer. Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. Don't drink beer while driving, child. And I'm trying to think some other example. Yeah. Do people even say that anymore? Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Just bad parenting, kind of.
Yeah. I don't know.
I guess it works sometimes, right?
I mean, I use it a couple.
If you're having adult fun, I guess there's things safe for adults, not for kids.
Like when I'm staying up till 2 a.m. playing video games, Go to bed.
It's okay for you. Okay. All right. Well, it's not okay. There's a secret investor out there pouring money potentially into seeding a Bitcoin ETF. You don't know seeding a Bitcoin ETF is one of the 17 steps you got to do before, it hits the market. Seeding it enables you to name it and do some other things. And it's like showing a promise of, hey, money will flow. So BlackRock has seeded their ETF. That's how they got the name. I think it's IBIT, correct? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So BlackRock seeded. Do you want to guess the number?
I couldn't.
It's small. It was $10 million. BlackRock seeded the ETF with $10 million. There's a secret seeder seeding $200 million. What the heck is going on? Let's read this story here. Bitwise says unnamed investor plans to seed $200 million into an asset manager's spot Bitcoin ETF. I like to think this is oil money. I like to think this is sovereign.
First thing
Middle
I thought
East.
of was some Saudi Arabia or something like that.
Yeah, sovereign oil money.
We just had the headlines last week about them, potentially,
Drew,
especially with the fatwa.
What was your first thought? Chat, tell me your first thought. When I said a secret seeder, hopefully you're not thinking anything weird. Secret seeder, my first thought, yes, sovereign oil. Kelly, sovereign oil. Drew, what was your first thought?
It's a sheik in the Middle East.
Okay, chic. Okay, secret seeder, no seating. All right, people still upset about not being able to smoke cigarettes. That's okay. All right, 15 years old, my dad showed me that enjoying a cold one on your way home from work. That's how things were done, baby. My mom had a game. You can hit the road sign with the empty Zima bottle. I'm not kidding. Roll down the window. I'm trying to hit road signs with the empty Zima bottles. Remember, I'm like 7. I remember one time I hit it out the Honda Accord, if I'm not mistaken, like 80 something, and I hit the top part of the door, and then it like clanged and like fell in the car. I think it was like a little Zima still in there and a splash. I'm watch the language, cover the kids. I just remember my mother driving, handed to me. She's like, shit. And I was like, and she didn't let me do it anymore after that. But
well, at least you're not blowing up her spot like it's something that's happening now. You're not saying
she's been dead for years.
You're not saying White Claw or Truly. You're saying
she's doing it till her deathbed.
Zima hadn't been around for a minute.
Let's see. Nick Cannon, secret seeder. All right, dang it, that was good. I didn't know where you're going with that. That was good. That was
Montgomery
good.
Burns.
Nick Cannon. All right, oil money. Okay, possible Mark Cuban. Okay. It's actually Michael Saylor. All right. People just, again, happy with the Zima reference. Lets us know our audience age. All right. Crypto asset manager talking about the secret seeder here. They're unidentified. All right. But they're planning on seeding 200 million, but no binding agreement has been made, but they have filed an S1 document. So they're filing paperwork with the intention of seeding 200 million. They're saying the 200 million dwarfing BlackRock, like I said, which is just $10 million. The secret seeder, who could it be? I like sovereign nation money. That's my guess. Oil money, 100%.
But my question is, though, do you think that this is possibly like a strategy? Because, for instance, BlackRock has as much capital as they want to make buys basically on demand. It could be, they have over $11 trillion in assets under management. Do you think this is seeding of a BlackRock spot ETF for one of the one of the groups that are doing it that may have basically trying to help them be competitive with BlackRock?
So BlackRock doesn't. Oh, okay. So it's like you don't want to show your hand. You don't want to show that you're the biggest dog in the bullpen, So you kind of like you play the background at first, and you're like, yeah, look at these other people giving them money. Is that kind of your you're saying it's happening here?
But yeah, like it's another.
It's like you're in the show Survivor, and you can win all the challenges, but you you act like you limp. And then towards the end, you're like, you're winning all the challenges.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I can see something like that happening.
Web3Me said, probably JP Morgan. That would just be the ultimate reversal of that narrative from
Some
JP
say
Morgan.
It's Hunter. Is it Hunter?
Yeah.
Oh my
Hunter.
gosh.
So that means it's China. All right.
He's got enough extra capital from not paying taxes. So
hey, look. Hey, he painted. Okay, he painted. He has paintings. They're worth a lot.
He was investing in recreation. Let's just say that.
Yes, he was. Yeah, but before we crack our topic of discussion, just too far here. Let's talk about some warnings. It's not all good news with the ETF. We're going to just throw out a couple bearish statements here. Alex Kruger, you got to listen to this guy because he has the yellow dots on the U. I mean, he seems smarter with that. Issues a Bitcoin warning saying this could send the price crashing after a spot Bitcoin. He doesn't really have any kind of real, his number one reason, if I remember, is buy the rumor, sell the news. So, okay, all right, this just kind of happens in the past. All right, buy the rumor, sell the news. I would say that's a pretty good reason. He's saying also if inflows are weak, it could make the digital asset plummet. All right, what else do we have, though? Will Clemente sharing concerns over the U.S. Bitcoin ETFs. His worries, though, he is also expecting it's going to be approved pretty early in the year. His post right here, 10 foil hat time. If I were the U.S. government, and all right, let's see. They cut it off here. He's suggesting that the U.S. government aim to accumulate large amount of Bitcoin. It could encourage the public and companies to hold their Bitcoins in regulated custodians. Following this, the president could theoretically do what they did to gold, the 1933 order, and where they end up stealing all the Bitcoin. Drew, this one's right up your alley.
Yep.
Percentage that this comes to fruition, just say in your lifetime.
I'd say it's pretty minimal because
pretty minimal. Okay.
Gold's
Non-zero.
a physical asset. Yeah. I mean, and they weren't able to shake you down or raid your house for the gold. They came with guns and asked nicely. Bitcoin is a digital entity. It's much harder to grasp, and people have control of their seed phrases. It's a much more powerful fiscal sovereignty tool than gold was. So yeah, I think it's a different situation. And BlackRock and the powers that be have much more losses on the books that they need to find upside for. It's a much different time frame. So
President Reagan bought a huge crack rock and held it on live TV. Did he buy it? I don't know if he bought it. I thought it was I'm trying to think of their name, but the CIA gave guns to the Nosa Nostra, correct? And then that's where the crack rock came from, everybody. They didn't buy it from Rick Ross, the real one. All right.
Well, I want to jump back here.
Yeah, let's do it.
James Safart here on my screen posted this morning. I've been talking with him. Hopefully we're going to be getting him as a guest on the show. But he said, I like how he called this. He goes, here's a view of the Cointucky Derby starting gate as of this morning. We're focused on these 11 spot Bitcoin ETF filers, expecting most of these to be filed over the next week, which kind of does suggest it's not going to happen this week for the approvals. But one of the things that I thought was interesting when I just looked at this is these are the spot ETFs that we're looking at a possible approval. And I would guess probably it's going to be between 7 and 9 of them that will get approved together. But 1, 2, 3, 4 of these are with Jane Street as well. Going back to that previous
connections,
article.
The connections, All right. Well, speaking of connections, there's someone that's kind of disrupting the elites more so than everybody, I would say, with this free speech platform. The GFY, making that one of the biggest memes of 2023. Talk about Elon Musk. I don't know if this is FUD or if something I should pay attention to. Maybe I'm biased, so, maybe I'm putting the wrong blinders on. But there's the Magnificent Seven of stocks. They've basically carried the entire S&P 500. If you look at the 493 out of the Magnificent Seven, it's largely flat or have done nothing. NVIDIA and some of these other ones, they're performing like Bitcoin, everybody. Some performing better than, or right up there with Bitcoin. The Magnificent Seven carrying the entire stock market. Well, Tesla's in that 7. They're saying the other 6 are going to have a great year. but Tesla is going to have a bad 2024. Again, maybe I'm biased here, but they're bullish. And it's the vagueness that makes me think this is, an agenda being pushed. Because we're not saying who, but it's analysts. Analysts are saying this. Wall Street. Who? All of Wall Street. Wall Street is bullish.
This seems like a narrative shaping, less about actual truth.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with this because the analysts believe that the group's only laggard in the next 12 months is going to be Tesla. 6 of them, hey, man, we got positive returns expected here. Tesla's going to drop 3%. And trust me, you don't want that. And so there is among it. And they kind of talk about the previous year action here. Bernstein, I haven't really heard of this. Also, there's another one I haven't really heard of. And again, maybe I'm just, being a little bit biased here. I'll try to find it in a bit. But they're saying they're anticipated to grow. However, they expect 2024 earnings per share to fall 6%. Even though revenue's projected to increase. So they're going to say he's going to become less efficient with his running of his companies. They also have more competition in the EV market, particularly in China. Now, I would say China definitely is some good competition. I feel like a lot of times I look at electric vehicle sales data and you'll see a car manufacturer sold 17 in 6 months. And you're like,
yeah,
total?
But this goes back to the same thing. I remember about a month or two ago, there was a couple posts about, the sort of negative stance, even like our administration has on Tesla, comparatively, like where they're praising GM for what they were doing in the EV marketplace. And they had delivered like 35 cars. And in the same period, Tesla had delivered something like tens of thousands of cars. So I think this goes back to that. These headlines just go back to, I think they're just not happy with what's his name, Elon Musk. Also because he's not a union guy. He's also doing different things that are challenging the administration. They had the release of the Twitter files. He's going against this mainstream. I mean, we saw what he said the other day. I'm not going to say it. It's a GFY phrase, the go. When he was talking about the New York Times and all this stuff. So I think it's more of a narrative shaping. They're trying to bring him down and bring FUD on him because he's going against the mainstream narrative.
Going against the narrative for sure. And, some are saying, people aren't liking that. Reading some chat here. Tesla sucks. Okay, I'll probably make my next vehicle Tesla. I do have the truck on pre-order. We'll see what Bitcoin does, and we'll see if we end up making that happen. I am a fan of free speech. So I'm a little bit of a free speech absolutist. Even language you might find uncomfortable, I tend to, say it should exist, at least in some form, or the ability to express it should exist. All right, but I want to express something. I'm pretty pissed off about our debt situation because we just eclipsed pretty important metric. We now spend more on debt than we do our military. How does that make you feel? I don't know. U.S. debt surges 108 not million, but billion in 1 month as interest expenses officially overtake defense spending. The latest data shows that the government's debt jumped from 33.8 trillion to 33.9 trillion, an uptick of 108 billion in just a single month, showing that they allocated 168 billion to cover the interest on Treasury debt securities from the start of the current fiscal year. So we're spending 168 billion on debt. Let's see, where do we have we have defense, 149. So we're spending 20 billion extra on debt versus our military. Now, we can talk about military waste. That's a different conversation. Tell you what's a waste, though, interest payments.
Yeah, what bothers me about this is these debt payments that we're having. It's essentially a large crack that's been like a dam in our spending and our ability to be a sovereign nation. We are still a sovereign nation. But when you have this type of crack in your foundation and you're not addressing it, and all you're doing is printing money, which is taking a chisel and a hammer and driving that wedge deeper, at some point the dam's going to break. And it basically puts it's a national security risk going into the future in reality. And they're not doing anything except for printing more money. And it shocks me.
Is Beam worth buying now? I bought some today, actually. Beam was the other. I bought 2 coins today. I'll share it with you. You get to front run the video. GMX and Beam I bought today. Let's see. Shake and Bake is bringing up a good point. Tesla got in the head on with another car. The truck looks brand new. The other car got demolished. I think it was a Camry. The news story is safeties commissions have complained about the Tesla steel frame. They are after Elon for making vehicles that are too safe.
If you're just so safe, it makes everything else dangerous. Make other stuff, drive up the regulation for the other cars.
Yeah, the free speech. Good point on the, what was it you're saying? Unions. He doesn't like unions. I heard a kill shot on unions because I have, my grandpa was in union. I grew up just so pro-union, but I think there's one or two maybe not great unions that, talking about the teachers union, I got mixed feelings on that one. I heard a kill shot on it. Kelly, you did some military, correct?
Yeah.
Do we have a union in the military?
No, I mean, you just,
no. How does that question feel when I asked it?
I mean, it feels kind of ridiculous.
It is
stupidest effing question in the freaking world, right?
Yeah.
So is there much difference between national security and education?
There's not. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the reality is the only vote we truly have is with our dollar.
Yeah, I'd never heard that analogy. It's a little bit of a contrast, and contrast can be manipulated to, give a certain influence. I'd never thought about that, and just something I've been thinking about. Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, we don't have one in X, but we do have one in Y, and they're both kind of important, but I know they're different for sure. But anyways, all right, let's talk about the DOJ. Why is DZ a union buster? No, I like unions. My grandpa was in the longshoremen's his entire life. All right, the DOJ, though, led the way in defining boundaries for the crypto industry in 2023. Former U.S. prosecutor. So we ruled by enforcement seems to be the theme for 2023. I would say that's pretty accurate. Within a year, the DOJ secured the conviction of Sam Bankman-Fried and dethroned CZ, the former head of Binance. Crypto news, seems like a little bit of almost a fluff piece for the DOJ here. It's really what I want to talk about. The DOJ accused of covering for the political elites by not holding a second SBF trial on illegal political donations. It is a disgrace. Let's set the table, Drew. SBF had a flurry of charges, and they set aside some charges and said this is for a later court date. Mm-hmm. What was your assessment of that? What happened? Can you just give a little bit of explanation? You probably remember that pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the political precedent and what Sam bought off politically is still in place and ruining people's lives across America. Still, we basically are in the Hunger Games with President Snow watching his son snort things on the patio now for 4th of July. It's turned into an absolute S show, and we are still paying allegedly a very tangible price for the election he bought out with our stolen money. So it's like salt on an open gunshot wound. It feels awful, but then it just keeps getting worse. And I hope that I have more friends ready to make sure our governments respect our wishes in the years to come.
Yeah. Okay. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, it's something important that I think we're a little bit myopically focused right now on the Bitcoin spot ETF. When's it going to be approved? And if you throw it on my screen here, Dan Gambardello.
We love Blue-Eyed White Dragon is what Crypto Face calls him.
Blue-Eyed White Dragon. No, he's awesome. Crypto Capital Venture. He's been pointing this out, and a lot of people are not paying attention to this. The biggest story in all of crypto, and it's hardly being talked about, on January 17th. Mark that date. Coinbase will aggressively make the case for crypto industry against the SEC and our arguments. And why is this important? Yes, the Bitcoin spot ETF is important for Bitcoin and the crypto market. But one of the things, just as you just mentioned, this regulation by enforcement from the SEC, where they really don't have a mandate to do that. This potentially could be a very big deal for the crypto ecosystem. And what happens in the event that we do get Bitcoin spot approvals and en masse, and Bitcoin's running up, but there's something that is denied or changed in terms of the way altcoins can be regulated on the 17th. Maybe Bitcoin runs, maybe altcoins get suppressed. Maybe they run in tandem because the SEC gets slapped down for all their regulation by enforcement, because that's not what their mandate is. So these are a couple dates that we need to pay attention to: January 10th, January 17th.
All right, let's see. It looks like we broke 45,000. Could we go to your chart real quick? Are we at 44.9? People are like, talk about clickbait, 50K. We're not even at 45. Where are we at right now? Where Bitcoin fall?
It's in the same region, 45, 145 here on Blofin.
You liar. You stinking liar. You made me look. Eggs on my face. I'm sorry to wrap you into that.
When you have a candle like this is my favorite. When somebody sees a candle moving at all bullish, it's like, Bitcoin's pumping, show the chart. Well, if I look at it on the 30-second time frame, oh yeah, it is pumping. But even on the 30-second time frame, it hasn't taken out the 20 moving average. So this is not a pump.
I'll tell you what happened. That was Barbara Fried distracting us, because we got to talk about Sam Bankman-Fried's can we say corruption? Can we say corruption? I don't know if we could say corruption. What some would call corruption. He was Joe Biden's second biggest donor. He had a couple employees also donate heavily to the Republican side. I'm not pointing fingers at any one side here. He has pictures with Maxine Waters. There's several high-ranking senators that also got SBF funds. So Sam Bankman-Fried donated very, very heavily, skewed more towards the Democrats in 2020 during those elections. I'm sorry, 20. Well, he got a whole bunch of charges, and part of the charges were campaign finance charges. Basically, hey, you run a bank. I gave you $100, and then you went and you gave a political action committee 80 of my dollars. And then when I go to withdraw my 100, you're like, oh man, we got some, we lost it. Essentially what happened. You gave my money to a politician, which your whole family was involved with, by the way. Your brother's involved with it, your mother's involved with it, and your father's involved with it. It's all one just web of deceit, web of cronyism. You gave my money to politicians. I asked for it back. It's gone. You got a charge for that, rightfully so. But then all of a sudden, you got all their charges, and we're like, all right, don't worry. We're going to prosecute those charges later. Don't you worry. We're going to charge him for these political contributions where he gave away other people's money. Guess what, folks? They just dropped those charges. It is exactly what it looks like. DOJ accused of covering up by not holding the second trial on illegal political donations, okay? It is a disgrace that they had stolen funds given to politicians and the politicians don't have to give it back. So they're avoiding a second trial, charging him with the conspiracy to make unlawful political donations and bribery of foreign officials. It has many people up in arms. I think this isn't a left or right issue. I think everybody should be up in arms about this. So the prosecutor said, hey, why are we not going to do this? Public interest. I'm doing it for you. I am not charging him for you.
If it was for them, they would give the money back to the people that they're saying it's so bad FTX did that. If you really believe that, and it is so bad FTX did that, then how can, and all of them still have money in their political coffers. Why are they not giving the money back to because there was hundreds of millions of dollars there. It's ridiculous.
Mike Bennett does have a good point. Is dark money contract. Well, the amounts are out, not where, Mike. But I think it's like a 3-to-1 ratio. I believe it's like a 75-25 ratio. I'm not. Maybe it's closer to 60-40. Well, in a letter filed in federal court in Manhattan, prosecutor said they do not plan to proceed with the second trial.
Shake and Bake said it best. We are protecting the elites for you.
Yeah. Let's see. Shake and Bake. Yeah, Shake and Bake's watching the news. He knows what's happening here. Well, as much of the evidence that would be offered in the second trial was already offered in the first trial, it could be considered by the court at the defendant's March 2024 sentencing. Given that reality and the strong public interest in a prompt resolution, the government intends to proceed to sentencing on the counts for which he's already convicted. Hey, man, look, we already got like decades of time. We don't need to charge him with, giving politicians all this dirty money, stolen money, illegal money. No, we don't need to look at that at all. Why? Because it might expose the list. It might expose what his mother's doing. It'll expose what his brother's doing. It'll expose this dark web of stolen funds.
Government's having a lot of difficulty lately with lists.
Yeah. Not the best thing with lists. I will say this. I haven't seen it credibly reported that Zelensky and Ukraine invested in FTX. I haven't seen that credibly reported. I've seen rumors and I've seen it on social media. I haven't seen it credibly reported. I wish, someone would, pull some records, fly to, another nation and, maybe figure something out. Let's see. We do have, I think it's RFK. We're saying this, pro-Bitcoin presidential candidate alleges other reasons why he was charged were dropped. RFK, he's got a hot take here. He is suggesting that there could be other motivations. Okay, well, in a post, he hinted that it's corruption in the system. And that's why the reason we have seen prosecutors opt against a second trial. Corruption is an even bigger issue than the fraud, as this is something that has become normalized. Is corruption normalized in America? I hate to quote this guy, I think Tate said it best. In other countries, there's attainable corruption. You're charged with speeding, you can give the guy a $100 bill. In America, it's unattainable corruption. It's corruption at the level for billionaires and 100 millionaires and maybe even a little lower. There is corruption, but it's not for you and me. It is for thee. THEE. So yeah, there's definitely corruption. I think we're seeing it right here. All corruption's bad. Although I'd rather live in the world where I can give the cop $100 for my
Hey, when I lived in Thailand, one of the first things somebody told me was, and I love Thailand. This isn't, dogging them at all. Somebody told me if you get into an issue, even if you aren't at fault, the best thing you can do in that moment is tip the police, because the longer you wait, even if you're not at fault, the more you're going to have to pay, because the second person comes and the third person comes and the fourth person. And it's not in our mind in America as the lowly individual that's the common man, because you can't do that. But what happens on the elite level, it absolutely happens with, backdoor, hidden contracts, hidden sort of payoff of stuff that's maybe not a direct payment for the thing, but there's other fringe benefits that basically get allocated that essentially is corruption.
KO Kev, I don't know. Ask him if you see him about it. Corruption, if you can afford it. Gabe says, why do you hate to quote that guy? Breathe air. That's my favorite quote from him. It's a polarizing figure. That's why I might decline to do it, because there's a strong message, and when there's a polarizing figure behind the strong message, the message gets lost. So I don't want to quote him, probably not for the reasons you're thinking. It's because I want that message to be heard. So, all right, well, let's do a 2023 year in review. Let's look at SBF's final tweet. I think it's a good segue here. They're talking about the Substack where they had a breakdown of all the, the assets, essentially customer balances and the tokens, what's in the bank. Fed speak. Let's see. I don't know. We can't see. If an intern brought me this Excel file, I would literally fire them on the spot. Yeah, sorry about that. I had like an hour to throw this one together, and it's ugly AF, but it's also right. Famous last words right there. There's a couple other tweets, top tweets. Signature Bank failed. It's like, God, that happened in 2023. Whoa, What a year it has been. Let's see. We also got a couple policy summits that were pretty big. And then one more. Let's see. Also big year. XRP lawsuit. That was a big thing that happened for the year. A lot of big things for the year. But is it going to be the year for Ethereum here? ETH long-term holder percentage surpasses Bitcoin, which is very, very surprising to me, because I feel there's more old Bitcoin that is lost than ETH that is lost. So, that metric kind of helps Bitcoin in its favor. But ETH holders are becoming more mature. Hit that like button if you got some ETH that you probably held for like years, right?
Yeah, and absolutely. And I do want to throw this chart really quick. This is a chart from Milky Bull Crypto. And yeah, ETH and the rest of the altcoin market, I still think that there's going to be a chance that we have a little bit of a pullback. But on the broader scale, just to bring back the bullishness for this year, this TSI right here, when it crossed bullish last time, this was essentially, look, we did get a little bit of a pullback, but this was also when we had that resulting parabola to the upside. And we're kind of, we're just getting that again right now. And again, doesn't mean it's going to be up and away, but I think Ethereum, along with the crypto, the rest of the crypto market, we are in store for some massive, massive gains. So be prepared. Do you have your bags packed? That's what I got to ask you right now.
Yeah, we got a couple things here. They all rhyme, right? So that means it's good. The merge, the surge, the scourge, the verge, the purge, and the splurge.
How excited do you think they were when they came up with that?
They were splurging.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're splurging all over the place. You've seen what Vitalik's working with. Can you imagine the volume? Can you imagine? Well, we do have a roadmap. I'm not going to break down. What are you laughing at? I'm not going to break down this post here, because it's a roadmap that you would expect Vitalik to make. So it's not exactly, like super, super exciting. All right, for instance, who's ready to learn about Verkle trees and snark for Verkle proofs? You got your popcorn ready, baby? This is the most exciting part of the video, because we're going to talk about Snark Stark ASICs. Woo!
They've got the best words. The Snark Shark, and then what was the other one? The proto
dank sharding. Yeah, you're gonna see that we have my famous prediction. It'll be on every T-shirt, at all the crypto conventions.
Did you proto dank shard?
Yeah, you proto dank sharded today, right?
Mark yourself safe from proto dank sharding.
I was gonna say somebody, you got me on a roll, like toilet paper. I couldn't think of something clever enough in time though. But yeah, we'll be watching these mostly. This is a dumb analysis, but we're going to be watching these to see if they fail, because that's what crypto's about. The more technical an upgrade, the less people like, oh my God, the second sentence in, my eyes start crossing. I don't even care about this upgrade anymore. That's crypto in a nutshell. Ethereum's most normie-friendly upgrade, proof of work to proof of stake. oh, okay, I the newer entrant can wrap their head around that. When you start saying, oh, are you ready to hear about Vertical Tree snarks? They're like, no, I'm not. Just tell me if price goes up. So we'll be watching the upgrades as they come closer. We'll be giving you countdowns, and essentially we'll be seeing if all things go well. All things go well. It's good for Ethereum. I'm predicting it should probably go well. They seem to be on point. The devs have been building and cooking with Ethereum. Speaking of letting them cook, Justin Sun has a $1.38 billion altcoin portfolio. Chat, do you think this is the biggest alt bag in the world? Drew, Kelly, is this the biggest alt bag in the world? 1.3 billion.
No.
I don't think so. There's got to be a foundation.
He's just a public figure, so I think people are more focused on what he has.
Yeah. And he's a good trader too. So like that's one of the reasons people like to focus on what he has is sold the Ethereum top twice. And he's pretty good at buying the bottoms, although I don't think he deployed much capital this last round, or if he did, it's secret wallets. All right, we actually have the entire portfolio here. Well, I mean, ETH is kind of, ETH and stable, then Tron. You're going to expect that. But if we look, do we have some interesting findings here? 6 million in Shiba. Okay, I thought that was pretty cool. Curve. He's a Link Marine, everybody. You can see he's probably had exposure to more alts. He's probably dumped the entire bags. He's still holding on to a little Link, still holding on to a little BNB, everybody. Then he has some like Justin Sun altcoins. You'll see JST, Sun, and others. So that's his bag portfolio breakdown if you want to see it. Have you heard the good word? Anything? If you got something from the stream, hit that like button. If you like money that we give away every Friday, hey, we're trying to give back to the community. That's going to be one of our big goals, 2024. Let's give away thousands upon thousands that could maybe be millions upon millions in 2025. So that that's our goal here. Decentralized exchange crypto says altcoin looks very strong. We'll just jump into it. GMX. I swear to God, I didn't know Johnny pulled this story.
You just mentioned that to me this morning. You said you just stacked up a little bit.
Yeah, that was a coincidence. I was a buyer at 60. I think maybe. Actually maybe not. I have to double check. So I bought a little bit of GMX, just a little bit, and maybe it's going to be in that portfolio, the 10K, maybe some profits, and should snake profits go in there? I asked that question earlier in the stream. Let's see. Could we scroll to the freshest chat there?
I was getting prepared for the Q&A.
We do have a meme coin wave happening on Avalanche, so you're not going to want to miss that one as well. Avalanche leaning into it, so it's going to be pretty good for Avalanche volume, Avalanche wallets, Avalanche transactions, just everything. And not only that, their nonprofit says it will make purchases through its. I actually like this. All these protocols, all these coins, they take themselves so serious. They dress like me, but they act like it. There's no party in the back. Just serious. I'm a dev. I know languages, and I go to the conference, and I act real serious, and I don't do anything fun because I'm a dev. But this protocol, they have Culture Catalyst Initiative. To me, that just reads like, oh, this is just for the culture. It's going to be for memes. Do you think it's a good investment to put $100 million into a culture catalyst, basically to invest in the meme ecosystem of a chain, or is that irresponsible? Because some of these meme coins might go down a lot.
100 million?
100 million. They're going to invest in their creator program.
The only way you could even dissect that is to ask, what is that? What percentage of their other investments is that? If they're investing $5 billion and they're only putting 100 million in that, then that seems fine. But if they've got 200 million total and they're putting 100 million, like 50%, that's where my mind goes.
I say this, it makes me want to be a net buyer of Avalanche meme tokens, because now I'm thinking, there's real buy pressure, Also, I looked at kind of what they're looking at. They want to keep it equitable. And so that means it's no projects with a token pre-sale, a pre-mine, or VC fundraising. So they want those organic meme coins. So I think that's pretty cool. But we'll see how this plays out, though. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. I do have some Avalanche. We have an Avalanche video that we put out, the best altcoins in the Avalanche ecosystem. Check that one out. A lot of them have done pretty well. We did have a price crash over the weekend. Teller, TRB, crashed from 600 to 137, $68 million in liquidations. Why couldn't it just be 1 million more? So that one, a lot of most liquidated token in recent trading history. The crash led to a liquidation. It was saying the team basically deposited a whole bunch following the sharp increase. And then they got to learn about order books and liquidity. And Teller team, well, they learned a valuable lesson there. So, pretty large net selling from the team and end up just creating a cascading effect there. Orbit had a little thing there. Solana, Google searches tap all-time high. Yeah, we're going to see that with price action. We covered that as well. Most Googled coins 2023. There's a couple surprises, so check out that video. We just put it out last week, so check that one out as well. But I think we're wrapping up towards the end. Now, Kelly, one more. ICP. Got a nice little jump with ICP.
Mm-hmm.
Drew, Kelly, do you like ICP?
I think similar to Solana and how they were so tied in with the FTX debacle, more on a speculative nature than in reality. I do think ICP is great tech. I think it's probably going to have a very, very bullish year.
All right. And one last thing before, maybe I'll answer a Q&A if you want to scroll. Is it a bullish year for Mickey Mouse? Steamboat Willie is now hitting a fair use here. But be careful. You cannot make you can't let anyone think that the work is affiliated with Disney. You got to keep it, make it pretty clear that it is unaffiliated. I'll tell you what I think is the coolest. Here's the coolest prediction I got. Video games, specifically fighting games. What do you think about that? Super Smash Brothers with Mickey Mouse. Mortal Kombat, that one might be a little bit weird. But yeah, I can see Mickey Mouse in like kart racing games, fighting games. So I think Mickey Mouse in video games is going to be one of the big things. Maybe 24, maybe 25. We'll see. This one was pretty cool. A $2 mint. I think it's $1,000, $2,000. So that one jumped a whole bunch as well. So $2. So, pretty much 5 max mint. Going to mint it out. So that one did pretty well. I think it's around 1,000. So $2 to 1,000. That's crypto for you there. But hey, you can only mint 5. Do you see any questions there? Boxcar Willie.
Lovebreaker said price prediction for Beam. And by the way, Drew, where are we at on likes on this stream?
500 likes.
500, man. Shout out to everybody that's here watching. Thank you for all the likes. Everybody hit that like. I think Alex said he's going to give another 5 memberships if we get 8 more. So hit that like. So what was your prediction for Beam?
Beam is what, 3 months old? Not even. Okay, so it launched at beginning or end of October. So, okay, all of November, all of December. Okay, so 2.5. We're almost there. All right, so we're going to go to the 90-day here. Ah, man, it looks like it's wanting to coil up, but the only thing that alarms me is we got a slightly lower low right there, but I'm not going to be too concerned about that. It's a little bit a lot of profit taken. It's really hard to say, so I need to go by market cap. Solana hit 70 billion. BNB, I think it was even 9 figures. I think it's going to hit double-digit billions, so I do predict over 10 billion. I am uncomfortable going above 100 billion, but at 10 billion, I'd have to look at the tokenomics. I don't have all the data ahead of me. This is quick back of the napkin math. Just bear with me. 12x. That is a 12x at 10 billion market cap, depending on how many tokens are released. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see close to 20 cents at the end of 2024. So that's my prediction right there.
Oh, shout out Alex Green, gifted another 5 memberships.
Another 5, Alex, you mad lad.
You are, he's one of the people here on the BitLab team as well. So shout out to Alex, always helping. And just
Drew, can we call the H Barbarians the Barbs?
The Barbs?
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean that's
Barbies.
I think that's a good name for them. They might go for it, but Barbara Freed kind of ruined.
You know what? I will walk you through my process when I see a microcap. Someone said, "Hey, can you check out ABR?" I'm like, "Well, maybe they misspelled R, but maybe it is some." So I go to ABR. It's up a little bit, and I'm gonna walk you through my total thinking process. All right, I pull it up, and I see $3.6 million market cap. Now, unless I have inside information, which I would share, you've seen me share this stuff. I maybe want to avoid it, but let's just say, all right. So what can I do here? We see circulating supply 8.6% out of 100 million. We got 8.6 million, 8.6%. All right, well, that's not the best number, right? That's you want to see something a little bit higher than that. So then that's also a little, alarming. So you want to see something a little bit better than that. Okay, lower highs. You want to see something a little bit better than that. All right, now we're talking. Now we see a little bit of a bullish project, and this is probably the most important thing. I do like to look at 24-hour. 24-hour volume, $19,000. That to me,
That's
red flag.
Yeah.
Giant red flag. Giant red flag. Makes me not want to buy it. And then I would just see how often are they tweeting. They took an entire week off. And for that reason, I'm out. I hope it does well. I'm not trying to crap on it. I just walked you through my mental process.
Yeah, and the reason why he's looking at volume there is because when you see numbers on these things,
that's why you saw those weird.
You can truly gauge the actual broader interest if there's volume. If there's no volume, then the interest is staged, and it could be a lot of wash trading on the other stuff. Now, I got a question for Drew here. This is, I think this will be the last Q&A question from Sturgios Vagelou. I guess I don't know if I said that right. He said, what do you think about DAG Constellation? No one talks about it, but still very nice investment.
Yeah, I mean, basically I've been in DAG since like 3 cents, and it's one of the only projects that's actually got a validated real project and test program going on with the Department of Defense, the Navy, the Air Force, space communication systems across the world. It's a hardened blockchain that's being stress tested right now and will continue to be stress tested over the next year until it passes or fails. I've been talking about DAG long enough to get everyone in at 3 cents.
And DAG is one of my final 2 assets to pull off KuCoin because I need a specific wallet. DAG and XRP. And what was the wallet you referred me to, Drew?
Yeah, Stargazer wallet. It's it's a specific wallet that you can use for Constellation DAG. But man, like DAG is one of the ones that might. I have a strong feeling it's going to just melt face, and I don't want to be too crazy about it. It's like a 2% allocation of my total portfolio, but it's been crushing, over doubled my original entry point. And I'm not going to be surprised if DAG hits a $50 billion market cap at the peak of the next cycle. So.
All right. Well, something to keep an eye out on. And everybody, I forgot to say it because Kelly was in the middle of his things. I caught a little trade on Blofin. I saw a little bit of divergence on some small time frames. I might just go ahead and close it. Oh, it closed. Oh, man. All right. Well, it closed. And hey, guys, we're going to start increasing these trades. I know you're like, okay, I don't really get excited off someone making $40. Ooh, wow. Delete that hand gesture DZ made there. But I am going to start trading with sizable portions. You know, we want to give everyone some financial freedom, and that's going to be the way to do it. And Mr. said, get that bald dude off. All right. Well, we will. It's been a wonderful stream. We'll see you ATB. Don't forget, we'll see you at the basement and BitLab. Sorry we kept you long, Kelly.
It's all good. Yeah, head over to BitLab. I'll be breaking some things down, and we're going to be talking about, you just mentioned these small trades. Alex Green is putting together something in the Discord for all of you. It's showing how 2%, literally, peanuts. That's it.
Yeah.
2% a day on a $1,000 investment could be hundreds of thousands of dollars within a year. So do not just bark at a 2% gain. It's nothing. I'm telling you, if you do it, it's called compounding interest, compounding gains. Do it. That's how you really get in this game. So we're going to be breaking down Millionaire's Mindset, what we should be doing for 2024. So head over to BitLab. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Hit the like on the way out. And remember, if you tuned in late, drop your comment here in the live chat. Drop your comment down below. Where is your prediction for Bitcoin and Ethereum going to be in December 2024?
He said you did a good job pronouncing his name. He's from Greece. All right, that's all we got. Hit the like button.
Adios, muchachos.